We're talking island safety and what you can do as a Guamanian to make sure that the streets are safe. Did you know that there is a curfew law? Sergeant Paul Tapao is here, and we are going to talk about exactly what time Guamanians need to be indoors and off the road. So, Sarge, welcome back.
No, it's not pretty much off the roads. Again, you know, the purpose of the curfew is for the well-being of the minors and the juveniles in particular. And, you know, being that it's summer, we're going to be expecting a lot of kids, you know, out and about roaming, finding ways or, you know, finding activities for them to keep them busy. And, you know, we want to stress this to the parents that there is a law, the curfew law, and, you know, it specifically says that anybody 17 and below is considered that will be considered in violation of the curfew. And, you know, the timeframes, they need to adhere to the timeframes and the dates that are associated with the law. So from Sunday to Thursday, anything past 10 p.m., you need to be actually accompanied by a prudent adult. Now, when we say prudent adult, it has to be somebody that's appointed by your legal guardian or your parent that is going to be accompanying your child while out and about. You know, there is specifics to the law that you can be out, whether by work, if you have to go to work, or you're coming to and from work, or for school purposes. Now,
so say like I'm working graveyard or something like that, and I work at like, you know, I'm working night shift and something like I'm in the warehouse or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. If you get out like around 10 or 11 o'clock, you know, that allow you to be out and everything.
If an officer says, hey, you know, I can see you're, you know, 16, oh, it's my summer job, officer, but I'm heading home.
Yes,
That's
absolutely, okay. Absolutely. So, you know, again, it is 17 and below is the age bracket at which we specifically identify those in violations of the curfew. Now, it changes with the weekend. You know, it's just up to 12 o'clock. So 12 a.m. from 12 from Friday or into Saturday morning on to Sunday from 6 a.m. So anything past 12 a.m. in the weekend, again, you have to be accompanied or guided by a prudent adult that is designated by your parent or a guardian.
Every time we do like a story, Paul, on curfew policy, like a bunch of people are like, oh, is that thing coming up again? Or, you know, like, is that brand new and everything like that? This is something that's actually been going on for almost a generation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always been part of the law and everything. And again, it's for the well-being and the safety for our juveniles and, of course, our minors that choose and decide to rather than stay home or do something productive, you know, they're out and about. So it puts a checks and balance to the parents that, you know, you are responsible for the well-being of your child, and you also will be held accountable for any infractions of the law that they commit. And if your child is picked up by our officers while in violation of the curfew law, you will be notified, and your child will be issued a notice to appear. And you know, once we issue that, it goes through the whole judicial system and everything with the courts and of course the DOA. So take heed in what we're saying, because you need to have an accountability of where your child is.
Okay, I'm really glad you brought that up, because, you know, I've found that on Guam, the whole scared straight approach tends to work. So as far as punishments or, you know, what could happen to the young person or the parent and everything like that, what, are they looking at fines, or are they looking at, you know, and this crime would be considered misdemeanor, right?
So usually when a child is brought in for curfew, there's other infractions that's associated with that. Whether the child is in possession with a contraband, you know, whether it be possession of, you know, tobacco products or with alcohol. If we find the child is under the influence of an alcohol, that's another infraction that we're going to pose. Or we find that a child is in possession of contraband or worse, drugs. Okay, that's going to be a violation that we're going to impose again on the child and everything. And you as a parent are going to be responsible for bringing that child to court and also to all the hearings that will come as a result of us picking up your child off of the street.
So at the very least, it would be like a minor inconvenience to what your normal schedule is. It's also embarrassing, because then it's a matter of public record.
There's a major inconvenience. There's no minor inconvenience because of the fact that now you have an order by the judge that you have to be present in all of the court hearings pertaining to your child with any laws and any infractions that they commit. So really, you know, the responsibility, the burden of responsibility is so great that you have to understand where your child is. You know, we're finding a lot when we go out to the town hall meetings. The major concerns with all the 19 municipalities that we've talked to is the curfew violation. It's been addressed, and you're going to see that through the course of the summer that you're going to have a lot of officers out there focusing on curfew. Our juvenile investigators are gearing up for the summer. They've already prepared their action plan and how they're going to approach it and how they're going to address the issue of curfew, and of course loitering with the minors that choose to be out past the hours.
Okay, now a lot of people would just assume, okay, this is kids just having fun in the summer and maybe being irresponsible, but there is a lot of responsibility, like you said, on the parts of the parents. So this means parents, be aware of the curfew and don't say, if you happen to be the caretaker of a minor, don't send your little kid out at 11:30, you know, your 16-year-old son out at 11:30 to go buy food for the dog or something like that, because that too would be an infraction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ignorance is not going to negate the fact that you committed a violation or infraction of the law. So, you know, understand that there's a great deal, and the reason why, again, and I can't stress this enough, it's for the well-being and the safety of the child. You know, being home at 10 o'clock is prudent because of the fact that you have to be accountable for where your child is, you know, because we're starting to see a lot of crimes that are being committed by juveniles that choose to stay out late because the fact that they don't want to stay home, or the fact that they don't even tell their parents where they're at. So you have to, you know, put the foot down and say, hey, at least tell me where you're at and where, you know, what's going on, and you need to be home, and be strict, you know, stand your ground and say, I need you home by this time.
All right, very well. Well, what have you got for us this week for Crime of the Week?
This week is a burglary to a vehicle that occurred on the roadway of Leo Palace in Zonia.
Leo Palace. Let's find out what we can do to help our friends in Central Guam.
On Wednesday, May 23rd, officers from the Hagåtña Precinct Command entered a burglary to a vehicle complaint at Leo Palace in Zonia. Now, the police report suggests that around 11 a.m., the victim parked their vehicle, described as a gray Toyota Corolla, along the grassy portion of the roadway to Leo Palace. The vehicle was left secured and unattended, in which the victim and her party departed for a hike to Sigua Falls. At around 3:30 p.m., the victim returned and discovered that the vehicle's glove compartment was open and appeared to be rummaged through. A check was made where it was discovered that personal items were missing from the vehicle's center console, to include a purse and a wallet, which was secured in the trunk. And the Guam Crime Stoppers is asking the help from the community in reference to this case. If anyone has any information about this crime or any other crime, you can call our 24-hour hotline at 477-HELP, that's 4357, or submit a tip online at guam.crimestoppersweb.com. All calls will remain completely confidential, and a cash reward of up to $1,000 could be paid if the information provided leads to an arrest and a grand jury indictment. Your call does make a difference.
All right, Sarge, we appreciate it as always. I know there's going to be people with a million different questions about what the policy is. People may want to refresh themselves. So where's the best place that they can go, or who should they ask if they're just, you know, curious about the policy? Visit
a precinct. Stop by with a precinct with your child so that both the minor or the adolescent can actually hear it firsthand from the officers about what they can and can't do.
I didn't know they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our officers are well educated about the laws and everything, and particularly with the kids and everything. Stop by the precinct. Our officers are more than welcome to entertain any question. If the precinct by where you're at, pull in and stop by and, you know, inquire from our officers. It's part of our community-oriented policing strategy, and, you know, by us reaching out to the community and for them to understand, it helps us, you know, steer down to where juveniles are left with decision-making skills that, you know, okay, now I'm here, what am I going to do now? What's the best approach? It's better if I call mom.
All right, Sarge, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, the P in GPD stands for police, but it could also stand for professional, because that's what they're here for. They're taking care of you. So make sure you're educated on the policy, and make sure to stay tuned, because we're back after this.